Blessed be Jesus Christ. My name is Sister Milicent Atieno Omondi from the Daughters of St. Paul. And today we are going to speak about an aspect of the Daughters of St. Paul, which we call the Pauline wheels. In our society today, and also in our families, in the country, we have various principles on which our life is built. There are certain principles which, when touched, the life crumples. This is also similar to us. As a Pauline family or as daughters of St. Paul, we also have our life that is built on particular principles that help us to move on. So many years ago, our founder gave us an image to describe this set of principles on which our life is built. And this image that he gave us was the image of a wagon or a cart. A cart or a wagon usually can move on 2 wheels, but it can also move on 4 wheels. But our founder chose the one that moves on 4 wheels. And he gave those 4 wheels names. The first one is piety, or what you would call, in an easy word, you would say the prayer life. That is the first wheel. The second wheel, he named it study. And then the third wheel, he named it apostolate. And then the fourth one, he named it poverty. Maybe it would be nice to stop at the image of a wagon. When you have that image in your mind, so there's the part that carries materials. There are the wheels themselves. There is somebody who sets the wheel on motion, and we also know that the wheel must move. So it will be nice to look at all these details, because these details are important for us in explaining the 4 wheels, what we call the principles on which our lives as daughters of St. Paul is built. So I'm looking at the chariot itself. So for us, the chariot of that main body of the cart, and maybe in our times today you would use the image of a car, but in the times of our founder, there was a lot of use of these wagons and carts. And you've also seen, when you watch various films, especially the old films, you see the wagons driven. Yeah, so that's what we are using. So for our founder, the chariot meant the Pauline sister or the Pauline brother or father, because we also have priests. The person himself in his totality or in her totality, that is the wagon. And then another time, he moved from the person to the congregation. So the wagon is the person, it is also the congregation. And then in the Pauline family, we are not just daughters of St. Paul, we are 10 institutes, five congregations and 5 institutes. So at a certain point, the founder moves out or moves beyond the image of a person, the Pauline, and goes towards the congregation. So the wagon now becomes the congregation. And then in another reflection, he now says, no, it's not just the congregation, but the wagon is the whole Pauline family. And this Pauline family or the congregation is made up of the persons who must have been holistic, totally grown and balanced. So in our family, the aspect of integrality is also very, very important, meaning to grow in all aspects of life. And this is that our spirituality is rooted in Jesus' master way, truth, and life, which already gives the aspect of integrality of a person. So he compares Jesus' way, truth, life given to the whole person, mind, will, heart. So in this aspect, it gives also the sense of an integral person who must grow in the mind, in the will, in the heart. And the Pauline must be this person because of the very mission that is given to us. Now, when you look at this wagon, it is not hanging on the air. It is resting on 4 wheels. You imagine that 1 wheel is missing, so that will be in balance. It cannot stay. What will happen to the wagon? It will fall. So this wagon is resting. It is balanced on these 4 aspects. And these 4 aspects, as I said earlier on, is the prayer life, study, the apostolate, and the poverty. First of all, the arrangement, the way that the wheels are given names, are also very important. So the founder places the first thing as piety or as prayer life, which is very central to our life. Because without God, without the providence, our mission is empty. Actually, when you speak of mission or being an apostle, it's because we are connected to God. It is God's own mission. So without Him, really, we cannot do anything. The second one, he puts a study. Why? Because we have to study the Word, the ways of the world also, in order to know how to carry out the mission. Because you cannot do what you don't know. So you have to learn, you have to study, you have to understand, you have to have the content of faith, which you're going to bring to the people of God. You cannot bring emptiness. Of course, we first fill ourselves with the presence of God in the first will. Then now, concretely, we now study in order to understand how to carry out the mission. And thirdly, he now speaks of the mission. Once you're connected to God, deeply connected to God, you have learned His ways through various means, you've studied various ways. Now you can carry out the apostolate with confidence. Now you become the apostle in the real sense of the word. Because for us, an apostle is the one who first has God in herself or in himself, then brings God to the people. But you need to have studied, contemplated Him, so that you bring Him to the people concretely through the mission, which is spreading the gospel through the means of social communications, as you have heard previously, or for those who have also visited our book centers or even our publishing house, you've seen the means that we use, or social media. And then the last one, he speaks of poverty. Poverty in the sense of depending also on providence, which also brings the aspect of faith. We depend on providence for the means that we would use for the apostolate. And that's why he connects all these 4 wills to the aspect of providence, because he says, first of all, from the aspect of prayer life, he says that when we joke around with our prayer life, when we compromise what we in our religious language would call practices of piety, when we joke around with that, we also close the hands of the providence, because we close the ways in which God can work. And also, it is the Lord who gives us the grace for study. Study for us is not something just intellectual. In fact, when Alberione, our founder, speaks of integrality, someone who is integral is not someone who's just intellectual, but someone who's grown in the whole manner of the human person, the mind, the will, and the heart. So it's not just to do with knowledge, but study in all aspects. So also he speaks of the grace of the apostolate. And here, I like one thing that he says about zeal. That when you put your zeal in the mission, the apostolate will flourish. What do I mean when I say apostolate? You might be wondering. Apostolate, you see that word, if you look at it deeply, it has the root word from the word apostle. Okay? So it's like whatever an apostle does is called apostolate. And we see ourselves as apostles of Jesus Christ. So we listen to Him, we pray with His words, and we let ourselves be challenged and transformed by His word. And then now we go out to carry His work, which then we call apostolate. Also, when he speaks of the last will, which is poverty, it's also on the divine providence. That is where providence shows His hands. That's why we see the concrete hands of the Lord supporting our mission, supporting us in every way for the apostolate. These are our principles as Paulines on which we built our life. Of course, the first is Jesus Christ, and that's why we are able, or we can carry out the mission. So we're resting on that. And if any of them is removed, the wagon falls or the Pauline will fall. So it's the importance of a balanced life, in other words, meaning that if you don't live these 4 aspects of our life, then your life is not balanced as a Pauline. And then this chariot is not just static. The chariot runs because there are wheels on which it runs. So it also shows the dynamism of our life. There is a movement. We are moving. We are not just static. And for the founder, that meant also a movement towards holiness. It also meant a dynamism, a progress in our spiritual life. And when for us you progress in the spiritual life, you also progress in other aspects of our life. The concrete works, like in the publishing, the printing press, everything moves. But in this movement, there must be harmony between or among the 4 wheels. If there is no harmony, the movement will not be smooth. So it means that along the way, you're going to stop. We will be unstable. And the founder, in one of his many talks to his sons and daughters, would also say that sometimes we could put sticks on the wheels. No, you put sticks on the wheels will not move. So it's like an impediment. And for him, those impediments were our imperfections, our sins, our weaknesses. So that's what he described by putting a stick in the wheel so it doesn't move. Then when you look at also the wheel, it's moving, but it's not moving towards nowhere. It's moving towards a direction. In that direction, again, the direction is holiness. We are going somewhere. But we are not moving alone. We are moving with the people to bring them to God. So there is a dynamism. So there is this wagon resting on 4 wheels and is moving. You might ask, who is the one who is driving the wagon? For the founder, the one who is causing the motion or the movement of the wagon is God himself. Because God, for him, even though he puts St. Paul at the background, but Paul himself is founder of the congregation too, in as much as he would also say that Paul is actually the founder of the congregation, is the one who inspires our mission, who gives us the incentive to really move on with enthusiasm, with passion for our mission. There is that movement, but it is God who is moving the cart. And then when you look at the chariot itself, the chariot is like a container. It carries something. It carries goods. And what does it carry? It carries the gospel. And as Paulines, as the people who have grown integrally, rooted in Jesus' master way, truth, and life, are now able or are now sent to carry out the mission by taking the gospel to the people. So this image for me really, which is powerful, and it's a kind of a summary of our own life from the spiritual perspective on how we give the gospel. I'm sure as I am speaking, you'll also be thinking of the principles that make your house stand, or that make your community stand, or that make your country stand. Which are those principles that, if compromised, will fail, or will make your society, or will make the country, or will make your family fail? For us, our principles are 4: piety, study, apostolate, and poverty. I hope that you have come to know much more, a little bit more about the Daughters of St. Paul. Since we came to Kenya precisely, I would also like to invite you to journey with us, thinking of the aspects I have spoken about. You can live with us these aspects also. We want to extend it to you. When we speak of prayer, prayer is not just a property of the Daughters of St. Paul, no? Prayer is for everybody. So we involve you also to pray for us. And we want you to know that we do pray for you. We pray for you, for your families, but most especially that the gospel of Jesus Christ will touch your hearts and you will be closer to God, you and your family. Also, in the aspect of study, yes, that is our own principle. But Also, when you think of study, I know we think of intellectual things, of things that can lead us to, let us say, higher learning or university, things that can make us great, which is all good. But my encouragement is to expand that vision, not to stay just on the intellectual aspect, but a learning that makes you grow integrally, that makes you know just not intellectual things, but also about life, things that make you into a gift for other people. So that is also another way of studying. And our founder used to call it studiosita, which means learning from everybody and from everything, which I think that you can do as well. And then also, when you speak of the apostolate, there are many ways that you can participate in our mission. The first participation you're doing actually is by listening to me right now. The second one is when you come also to our book centers, you get our materials. But the third one is also that you can participate in your own little ways. If you like, can be monetary, because then it supports also the mission that we are doing. It can also be your own individual participation. Like for example, you could approach us also to publish a book or register a program. You know, we also have a studio. The choirs, if you're a member of the choir and you want to record songs, is a way of collaborating in evangelization. And then in the fourth wheel, which we call poverty, which for us is really actually providence. Also there you can collaborate with us. And here I dare or I risk say, also financially, it will be useful for the mission. It will help us to move further for all the works that we are doing. In other words, what I'm saying, you could be a benefactor. You could also team up with some of your friends who are interested in this kind of apostolate, of evangelizing with the media, who could support us for a better cause. But even further, you could be a Pauline cooperator. Why not? We have lay people called Pauline cooperators who are actually part of the Pauline family. And they take promises, and we normally see them as also our extension where we cannot reach. I invite you to celebrate in your own way with us. Keep us in your prayers. Keep connected to us. Visit our book centers. Visit our publishing houses. And talk to the sisters that you find. To the young ladies who might want to be daughters of St. Paul, it is beautiful to be a daughter of St. Paul. Please visit any book center. Ask the sisters what it takes to be a daughter of St. Paul. They will help you. But I can say also straight away, the love of God is number one. You must be loving somebody you want to follow. Number two, you also have to work hard in school, because for this mission, we also need to prepare ourselves well. You see, we have spoken about study, so it's important also to prepare well. So we need people who have also passed the exam. It is good, and especially also people who love our mission. So for the rest of the things, you could speak to the sisters and the age, because you might ask, sister, what is the age? Which age, from which age do you take? We take the maximum age is 26, but we could allow until, let us say, 30, depending on the circumstances. That is what is supposed to be spoken about. So I welcome you. Also, if you have a daughter, please accompany her. For the boys, if you have your sister who looks like she wants to be a sister, don't be shy. Just encourage her and bring her to the book center, and we shall be happy to meet you. Thank you very much, and God bless you.